Banter Podcast with Cole and Jedis.
What the fuck is happening, guys? Welcome to the General Banter Podcast. Half hour power hour, Patreon exclusive. We're here, we're live in this little home office. While I have you guys, let me remind you that the General Banter Live Podcast is happening this motherfucking Saturday, the 5th, okay? The 5th of March. We're doing a live podcast at the Limelight in Belfast. We've got Aaron McCann as our main guest. There will be stand-up. There will be hilarious podcasting, which we're going to record. There will be, what else is there going to be? Maybe some one-off sketches. You know, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be unique. There are some tickets still left for that, as we launched it in the midst of my Instagram shadow ban. So I might as well have walked out into the middle of the street in the middle of the night and went, "Hey, anyone want to go to a podcast?" And got no response whatsoever. Because Instagram hate me because I say bad words. And I've went on about it week after week. But let me tell you something. If I see one more fucking ridiculous thing online and I'm not allowed to talk about my own stuff, I'm going to freak out. I'm going to absolutely freak. I was going to say, I'm going to Columbine the place. I'm not going to say that. That is a joke, categorically speaking. That is a joke, Instagram. I would never shoot up a school. I'm 35. I haven't been near one in at least 2 years from when I used to hang around. Okay, that's a joke. Also, I just have to explain all the jokes now. Let's just take it for granted. Everything I'm going to say is either lies or a joke. But there is a General Banter Live podcast on Saturday. Go to that. Speaking of things that are on, by the way, while you're at it, guys, if you're listening to this, obviously on Patreon, let me know where you listen to the regular podcast. Do you listen to it on Spotify? We're trying to make a bit of a push for Spotify. We're going to go full Rogan. We're trying to get the video up there. I think that's an option you can go for now publicly. Not just reserved for the likes of Joe Rogan. Little fucking muggles on down the ladder can get it too, like me. So I've applied for that. But make sure you fucking rate it. You can rate stuff on Spotify now. Do all those good things. Hit the little bell notification. The phone will tell you, like, "Hey, Colin's got a new podcast out." Got Shane Todd in tomorrow. That'll be out next week. When we'll have a chat. Now, speaking of fucked up things, before we go on and talk about our whole week and whatnot, I like to start each half hour, power hour with the latest stupid fucking thing I've said. What should we call this section? We should call it, "Oh, for fuck's sake." Do we call it that? Welcome to this section, "Oh, for fuck's sake." Maybe not that. This is the sort of shit you stumble across. There's a guy here. While I'm out here trying to just, make jokes, people are like, "You can't say that, Colin. You said the word cunt." So I'm going to fucking just turn down the amount of people that this gets shown to on your Instagram, even though you've built up, quite a substantial following, relatively speaking, for you. And then I see this motherfucker. And the dude...
These days we know
"Hey,
how
I'm
popular
Australian."
food prepping is.
No.
I do things a little bit differently though. Now before we go hoeing straight into it, because it looks so tasty, we got to take it out and let it sit at room temperature for a bit. So here's one I prepared earlier. It's been sitting out for close to a day now. So at the bottom we can see we got chicken. There's a bit of beef heart and a bit of beef liver in there. And up the top is beef fat.
Now, if you think the fucking Liver King's bad, he's like, "Hey, primals, at least the guy fasts for like 24 hours and then he'll have like fucking 6 burgers and he's like, 'We're having bone marrow.'" This motherfucker has taken it to the next level. He's like, he has hashtag primal diet, but he fucking takes it to the next level. Liver King looks like a fucking asshole compared to this guy. He goes, "Everyone's into the fucking meal prep. I do things a little bit differently." And he's got a load of fucking like jars in his fridge, and in that is just I'm literally, I don't know what the term is, welling up in my throat. Like, the dude has fucking like bits of raw chicken, bits of raw meat, big lumps of beef fat. I'm literally salivating in my mouth, not in a like tasty way. Like, I'm actually gonna fucking barf all over this goddamn monitor. Right? So he digs in. Now, can you hear the flies? He puts the fork into this fucking jar here, There's a bit of liver.
Now that liver would have been nice because it's actually been in the fridge for about probably a month before I actually put it into these jars. But we'll just grab a bit of chicken for now.
Yeah, go ahead. But yeah, fucking, yeah. Is he trying to tell me that the liver was a bad idea? He's like, yeah, that liver would have been good, but it's in there for about a month now, so it'll probably not bother my arse. And he's got a bit of raw chicken, and yeah, mate.
It's the real deal.
And he's eating the raw chicken. Now, if you've got that thing where you don't like people chewing, you're probably throwing up. And he ate the raw chicken, and then he sticks his tongue out like, yeah, I finished the raw chicken. What the fuck is wrong with people? And he puts in the comments there, he said something like, yeah, bro, I'm just trying to live a disease-free life. Really? Seems to me like you're going about it the wrong way. You know, why? What is he like eating all this shit? And then he's like, yeah, man, I've got the fucking immune system of just a fucking machine. And I do that by eating dead carcass. I mean, he's absolutely the far end of whatever a vegan is. Let me see this next one before I...
Here's inside my other fridge. We got a bit of meat in the door that's been there for a couple months or so.
It's been there for a couple of months. Why? I mean, I'm literally going to barf. I don't know why I decided to show you this, to be honest, but...
Up top, some beef liver that looks like the liquid's starting to separate a little bit. And then a ton of beef fat, my staple food right there.
Yeah, chop the
First
chicken
we'll chop
up,
the chicken up.
Oh, so he has a jar full of liver. You know, fuck, the Liver King's all like, eat the fresh liver every breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And this motherfucker is like, he's like, hey, Liver King, I see ya. I'm gonna fucking raise you. You're gonna eat liver, cool. I'm gonna keep a fucking jar of liver for 1 month till it all starts to break apart, and then I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna split it up into my meal preps, and then hear this.
Now that my food's ready for the week, all that's left to do is to put this liver juice down the hatch.
And then there's whatever fucking juice has fallen off the liver, and the dude is drinking it. And then one of the fuck.
Here's inside my other fridge. We got...
God, what does he shit out? Maggots? And then there's one video, I don't even know if I want to play that. 1 week ago, fresh chicken, and he's left.
Here's the surprise I promised last week. It's been out at room temperature for about a week now.
The dude sounds like he's Australian. He's got this fucking piece of chicken in a cup for a week, and then it's in his garden. It's covered in flies.
Look at all those flies.
What is the fuck is wrong with this motherfucker? And then he picks it up, and then he get it. He's gotta get it. Let me tell you something, motherfucker. Like, I would watch anything, to just take my mind off the fact that we're on the brink of nuclear war. That's mainly the internet's purpose now. It's like, hey, do you want to really think about what might happen? You know what I mean? If fucking Putin is like, gets offended, and he's like, you hurt my feeling. I make a decision you go against, and I don't like to be disagreed with because I can't handle it. It's insecure. Nuclear fucking explosions all over the place. Class. What'll I do? I'll sit on my phone and I will just turn my brain off, and I'll just try and forget about the reality of the world right now. And what am I watching? This pre-serial killer. What's he doing? You know what I mean? Like, what is the aim of this? One of the comments said that he was trying to live a disease-free life. Do you just, like, give yourself the hardest immune system of all time? And then just fucking... Like, the guy's eating... Who loves spoiled raw goat's milk? Do you remember old Jackass videos when they would, like, drink loads and loads of fucking... milkshake type shit? I'm actually gonna be sick the more I think about it. And then they would barf all over the place. Man, you need to listen, Steve-O, stop being such a bitch, man. Get on the fucking, what's his name? Bojangles. Raw Bojangles. Eat some raw chicken that you've left out for a week, man. Drink a gallon of spoiled goat's milk. Like, what the fuck? I tasted buttermilk one time or like someone sort of tricked me into two of the grossest things I've ever done. Hey, drink that, it's milk. Near threw up. Only joking. It's buttermilk. And then another time my sister got me where, we were on like a fucking Stena Line boat or something when we were kids. And she's like, I got you a sweet. And I went, thank you. And I took the wrapper off and I ate it. And it was a garlic sweet. And I was like, I will fucking throw you over the edge of this boat, bitch. Trying to trick me like that, you fucking 7-year-old weirdo. But anyway, this is where I go to. You know what I mean? I'm sitting on the internet watching this fucking serial killer eat raw liver. What experience, like, how do you get there? This guy should go on fucking Joe Rogan and just be like, yeah, mate, I just decided that one time I had a bit of a runny egg one time and I fucking shit my pants and I thought to myself, I'm not having this. You won't make me feel like a bitch. I'm gonna fucking lean into this. I'm gonna eat green liver. And then one of his big claims that he keeps writing on this shit is like, hey, no salt, no sauce. And you're like, well, what the fucking, who gives a fuck? It's already fucking like disgusting. You can't be like, yeah, this guy thinks he's a fucking raw primal guy, but I've seen him put salt on it. Surely maggots are salty enough. Anyway, we'll get off topic. Sorry, I just had to talk about that. I can't believe this is a Patreon episode and people tune in for this. I'm sorry. I do apologize. This is where my life is at right now. There's a video of the same dude staring into the sun, which we all know he shouldn't do, but he says he's decalcifying his pineal gland. Anyway, we move on. The garage conversion is coming on rightly, guys. It's to celebrate. See, when I get into this motherfucker, podcast every day for a week. That's what I'm gonna do. I did that at the start of lockdown, and I'm gonna get into this place, and I'm gonna be like, it's gonna be so easy. It's gonna be purpose built for quick and efficient podcasting, and I won't have to fucking drive for 3 hours to get to a studio that has no fucking heating in it and shite internet. I'm gonna do it right here at the house. I'm gonna walk up to the top of the garden into a fucking converted garage and record, and it'll just be fucking online. Immediately. So we're coming on rightly with that. Got some stuff delivered today. The guy in the lorry destroyed the garden but say nothing. What can you do? Just gets out of the thing. He's like, sorry, I went up the grass a wee bit there. And I went, oh, the grass or this fucking trench that is here now? Can't complain. I've had an exciting couple of days there. The good bud Gordon Rochford there, from those conspiracy guys. I know there's a lot of people went on from, like, a lot of people listen to him anyway. A lot of people listen to him on my podcast and then went and listened to his podcast, and it's amazing. And he invited me down to Mayo, to Ballina, where he has his studio at his house, and we'll get to that in a second. But he's like, do you want to come down? We'll talk about Chris Watts. And if anyone's seen that documentary on Netflix there, it's called American, what's it called actually? Murder Next Door. American, hold on. There's so many versions of that, I'm going to have to actually fucking look the bastard up. It is called, where's the I'll continue? Motherfucker. Where is it? Where's the continue watching? Oh, Christ. Stop playing that now. Chris Watts. It's called American Murder, The Family Next Door, and it's that famous story of the dude who basically killed his wife, his pregnant wife and 2 kids, and fucked them in an oil tank. And then the police came to the house and they were filming everything, and he was just like, yeah, I don't know what happened there, man, it's crazy. But we talked about that, and we talked about what could have been his motives, what the fuck was wrong with him, did the wife have anything to do with it? We hate the victim blame, but we had to, you want to talk for 3.5 hours, you gotta delve into it. But anyway, we'll get that in a second. I agreed to do that. You know, the guy gets fucking hundreds of thousands of listeners. I'm like, of course I want to do the podcast. I'm a fan. I would love, you know, the exposure. Let me on there. And hopefully I did a good job. We talked about toxic masculinity and all that sort of crack. But he's like, come on down to Mayo. And I was like, I fucking will. And drove down from, you know, I live in the sticks now. We live in the middle of Tyrone. So I drove the whole way down there, and a beautiful drive. But absolutely nowhere to stop. You know, needed a piss for 3 hours straight. And we got the whole way down there. And there was a couple of nice hotels in Ballina. You know, there's one called the Ice House or something, but it looked a bit like the Gal Gorm of, you know, it looked like where couples went to fucking finger each other in a hot tub. And I was like, do you know what? The big man's treating himself night away from the fucking away from the wife and child. I'm gonna fucking treat myself, you know, have a real nice time. And I talked about it enough, and then I went to book it, and it was booked out. So I was like, right, for fuck's sake, which one's closest to his house, for the love of fuck? And so I booked this one. It's called, I'll not give away the name of it. It's, well, who gives a fuck? It's called like what was it called? Grand National or something like that. That's a race, I know, but it sounded like Grand National, Great National. And let me tell you something. The photos looked okay, but when I got there, it was in a time warp. Basically, it looked like, it was ironic that it was going to do like a murder podcast, and I'm in a hotel where I'm like, oh, this is just the only thing that happens here is murders, probably, you know. So I check in. I did that thing. I was driving down. I'd already eaten before I got there. I was arriving about 6. I was like, I'm not going down. I just want to fucking get in this hotel room and fucking dump all my shit and take a shit and take all my clothes off and get a shower and walk around my cock out. Of course. So I ended up getting some food, like just grabbed some stuff out of a shop on the way, and it was like, this'll fucking do me. Can't be arsed sitting down for a dinner. Got in the place. I had to watch this documentary, obviously. You know, I'm doing a podcast about American Murder, the Family Next Door, the story of Chris Watts, the fucking murderer. So I'm in this hotel room, like, you know, like the fucking armchair that they give you is like ripped, the leather's ripped on it, and you're like, what the fuck has happened here? There's stains on the floor. You're like, it's a few things. It's red wine, or it's blood, or it's shit. And it's sort of flung across the room. So once again, it could be any of those things. It could be vomit, it could be blood, it could be shit. It could be red wine. That's more things than I said the first time. But anyway, so I'm like, right, I'll watch this fucking documentary. I was already creeped out. I was like, I'm locking the door. I've locked the door from the inside. I've put the chain across. It had a chain. That's how fucking old this dump was. Had a chain. And I'm like, right, let me just fucking sit here. And I watched the documentary. And, you know, even though I know I'm in no risk, I know I'm at no risk. You know, I've had about 16 coffees in the car. I'm slightly on edge. You watch something kind of spooky, you're like, oh my God, this is weird. This is just weird to be here watching this as like homework. And I watch that, and then I get in this fucking bed. It's uncomfortable as shit. They give me like a twin room. Normally a twin room is like, you know, a double bed and a single bed. This is like 2 single beds, not even pushed together, like separately, like I was in fucking goddamn Butlins or something. For fuck's sake. Anyway, try and go to sleep. I'm still full of coffee. I'm jittering. I'm rolling about. The TV is the size of, I mean, I'm looking at the display on this camera. The TV is nothing. You know, I put up a clip of it saying, oh, is this an 85-inch? And someone sent me that clip of Michael Scott from The Office, where he's like, I finally cracked and got a plasma TV, and it's tiny, and he's got above the fire, and he goes, sometimes I just stand here and watch TV for hours. And that's, you know, that was me. So I'm just lying there, tossing and turning. It's 1:30 in the morning. Eventually I fall asleep, right? Finally, I eventually fall asleep, snoring like a fat walrus. Then at 3 o'clock in the morning, right, I was rudely awakened by what I can only describe as members of the traveling community, the traveler community, beating the fuck out of each other outside the door. Now, quite intense for a Monday night. Quite intense when you've just watched a murder documentary. You're slightly on edge. You're in a weird place. You're in what is quite obviously a murder picture. You know, this room, and you eventually get yourself over to sleep, and then just out of nowhere, I'll hear, "For fuck's sake, John, get in the fucking ground, fucking bastard! I fucking tell you!" People banging doors, "Fucking open the fucking door!" Boys screaming at each other, and some dude just kept going, "Stay down, John! Stay down, John! Stay on the floor, John! Stay on the fucking floor, John!" Screaming, banging up against the door, banging up against other doors, slamming doors. Fucking definitely sounded like digs hitting each other. I don't know what the fuck. Like, I don't know who John was and what he was doing, but this motherfucker was adamant that he got down. "John, fucking stay down, John! Fucking stay down with you, for fuck's sake, John!" And then you hear a door open, and it sounded like 8 people. And you can hear them go in the room, boom, door shuts, and then just more shouting. It sounded, I was trying to figure it out, it sounded like somebody fucking got into a bathroom and they were trying to kick it through. Fucking, and I mean, to quote fucking, what was it, Chewing the Fat, my heart was like that. Bricking it, you know? Standing there in my pants. I sent Maury the picture of when Britney Spears is fucking losing her mind there. She's not really, she's just enjoying the freedom. They've let her out in public, and there's a picture over there at fucking Portstewart Strand, with her fucking tits and asshole out. And there's one photo of her like holding her tits and crossing her legs, and I sent the picture to Maury, and I was like, "This is me at my fucking peephole in this hotel room at 3 in the fucking morning, while my big fat gypsy wedding beat the fuck out of each other outside." "Fucking stay down, John! Stay down, John! I swear to God, you fucking bastards!" It was absolutely terrifying, and that was me awake. You know what I mean? You get that adrenaline surge, at that time of the, and especially I'm terrible for, like, if I fall asleep and I get woken up quickly, that's me awake, because it has refreshed me. So yeah, I fucking just sat there for another 2 or 3 hours. Like, well, I have to go and do a podcast at like 10 o'clock here and talk about a murder, and I'm just gonna be sitting there going asleep while I'm awake. And strangely enough, it was actually this motherfucker's clips that I was watching while I was lying there. So after all that, you'd think you would want to decompress a wee bit, and I'm like, nah, let me watch this lunatic eating fucking raw meat after a travelers boxing match happening outside my hotel room. And I'll tell you something. Did I get the breakfast to the room the next morning? You're absolutely fucking right, I did. Fuck me. People say they love a hotel breakfast. It's okay. It's never great. What you want is a buffet, like a breakfast buffet of a high quality, and then you get to pick whatever the fuck you want. They just brought you the breakfast, and it was okay. But I'm a big believer in the best fry up you're ever gonna have is one that you cook yourself. You gotta cook it yourself. That's the way it goes. To get the best one, you gotta fucking cook it. Same as making tea. No one makes, the nicest tea you're gonna have is the tea that you make in your own house. And I don't know why, but that's the way it is. Whether it's the preference of tea bag, all that sort of shit. And I was watching something the other day. They were talking to some Irish rugby player, and they're like, "Oh, bro, what do you prefer, Barry's or Lions or something? What was it, Barry's and Lions? Maybe, I don't know what tea it was." And he's like, "Oh, Barry's. It's fucking Barry's." And I'm sitting listening to it, going, "Let me tell you something. I've gone full fucking colonized, fucking hipster. You get that Twinings breakfast tea, and every other tea bag can fucking eat my asshole. Get that Twinings English breakfast tea. They can go fuck themselves, these English. The best of times. But let me tell you something, when they were fucking colonizing the world, them motherfuckers knew how to make a bit of tea. When you're sitting around watching your slaves plough the land, You've time to work on the brew, is what I'm saying. Barry's, kiss my fucking taint. Disgusting. So yeah, I got the breakfast in the room and I just sat there, eating it off a little table whilst I was watching BBC news coverage of this fucking war, which is just doesn't even seem real. You know, I'm watching this documentary, and I was talking to Gordo from those conspiracy guys. And I was like, you know, there's something scary about this documentary because it seems so real. It's not this real dramatized thing. It's literally just footage from a cops thing of a guy that like several hours ago was choking his children to death. It's very real and like real life. Same thing with that goddamn this war footage. You know, you're just like, well, it's not all fucking Hans Zimmer music and fucking, you know, cool montages and things, people run away from explosions. It's literally just someone out their window going, this is just like every other day. Grey sky, you know, fairly miserable. We're in the Ukraine. And, oh, what's that? Just blew up the old fucking shops there beside me. Fuck that. Fairly quick turnaround too. You know, one week you're just, we're all good. And then the next week it's like, oh yeah, I'm a fucking, there's plenty of people who are like, oh yeah, I'm like a pharmacist and I'm just here with, my family. Trying to just wait at this, was waiting at this place for like 4 fucking days to try and get out of here. So that's cool. And then they fucking, you don't even know whether these things are true or not. They talked about that Ghost of Kiev thing. You know, you don't know whether it's like, they're trying to be like the internet seemed to latch onto the wrong things. You're like, there's a full-blown war here. Got to be a massive refugee thing to sort out. Possibility of full-blown nuclear war. And people are like, there's this bad motherfucker called the Ghost of Kiev who is allegedly just one guy in one of those MiG-29 bombers. And he shot down, just the number changes every time I hear it. The guy shot down 6 Russian planes. The guy in one fuck on his lunch break shot down 25 Russian planes. And it is getting more and more silly. I don't know, I've heard different things like going like, oh yeah, Russia are sending in loads of troops, but they're not as well trained or armed. And then the Ukraine have a smaller one, but they're better at what they do. And you're like, fuck the army. Some motherfucker towed a tank away with his tractor the other day, which has got it just absolutely savage. You know what I mean? Fuck it. I don't have tank, but I hook up John Deere and I pull it halfway down. I pull it. Is it from Russia? If it's a red, Keep it in the shed. Hook her up to fucking Massey Ferguson. I pull tank halfway down street. Fuck you. You will have Russian soldiers chase after it like bitch. Okay? If it is Russian, if it is red, keep it in shed. If she is not blue, she will not do. I tell you, if she's not yellow and blue, she will not do. If she is red, keep in the shed, okay? I fucking tie your shitty tank to tractor. I steal, okay? What accent is this? I don't know. I am comedian. I do vaguely some sort of racist accent. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, it's fucking terrifying. But yeah, what I'm saying is, I went down there, did a podcast with Gordo. It was fucking 3.5 hours, man. See if I can do it in 3.5 hours. Put me in a fucking like dentist, like a first class seat. Because he's a beautiful setup. I mean, I've never been more jealous in my life. I was just going, this is great, taking a mental note, gonna buy those lights, I'm stealing all the setup. And we were doing this podcast and he's beside me. And you never think about this. For 3 hours, I'm looking like this over at him with my head to the right. And see, after 3.5 hours, you're like, I need a goddamn neck massage from just turning my head this way. But we got through it all, man. It's a good chat, and we were even talking about it at the time. He was like, listen, this is a difficult conversation to have, but we were bringing up what the wife was like as a character. You know, was she a bit of a fucking narcissist? Was she constantly, you know, beating this guy Chris Watts down? She was always online being like, this guy's a fucking useless cunt and all, and fucking my husband's never listens to me, he's always stupid and fucking whatever. Did he just crack after all that time? Or and then we started getting into like toxic masculinity, and then we were talking about fucking God, you know, like just all sorts of fucking things, like, you know, should the guy, you know, what would men do, like the sort of role of a man, you know, they're talking about toxic masculinity and modern, you know, masculinity or being a man in the modern day, and you know, your role as a father and all this here shit. We're getting into it, and we were talking about, like, you know, if he didn't have this other woman in the picture, would he not have known that the fucking grass was greener on the other side? How many men are in the same scenario and just fucking kill themselves? You know, we started talking about that, and he was saying, Gordo was saying, like, this is really fucking difficult conversation to have, and I was like, I know, but sure, here we are. We'll get into it. We'll have a chat, and we did. It was fucking awesome. And then I had to just drive home after that, and fuck that road. See the road from here to like Mayo? Jesus Christ. But anyway, I'll look forward to that coming out. It's gonna be fucking awesome. He's giving me, by the way, the guy's a psychopath. We're going through like possible topics for stuff we could talk about, and he just had, like, I don't think the guy is gonna live long enough to complete every single podcast that he wants to do, because you're sitting there thinking like, oh, conspiracies and true crime, you know, maybe that'll sort of hit a bit of a glass ceiling at some point. And he's like, nah, fuck that, and opens this program and is just like just flying through topics. Like, you literally, there aren't enough fucking days on the calendar to get that shit completed if there isn't already a goddamn fucking nuclear war up in this piece. But anyway, yeah, we got Shane Todd coming up on the podcast tomorrow. That'll be out next Tuesday. What other stuff have I got to tell you? The Flow CBD. This is a spot. They are a sponsor, kind of more of a partnership with them than a sponsor. But they have a constant discount code now. So it is General Flow, I think, is the public one for 10% off, and possibly Banter Flow is the 15% off one, which is for patrons, and that is constant. So that's pretty cool. Get your wellness on, my guys. I'm gonna get to fuck out of here. And I'm gonna go to Lavery's Comedy Club. But yeah, cheers for listening. Next week I'm gonna maybe make an effort to get a couple of podcasts out plus the Patreon. So, and I would also be keen, once this garage is being fully converted, to, as when I can, do a few more podcasts. I've got a podcast idea I want to do with Maureen. A bit more substance to that than me just talking shite about almost getting fucking my room ransacked by travellers. So there you have it. Yeah, cheers for listening, guys. It's been the Half Hour Power Hour. We will see you next Tuesday, if not before. We have a best of the month coming out as well. So yeah, take care of yourselves, guys. Okay. All the best.